Alright folks, Jason here with H&S Games. I do still exist, I am still alive. Contrary to popular belief, I think it's been a couple of months since I posted anything. So I wanted to give you guys an update on where we are with this whole advanced Platoon Leader thing. What you're looking at currently is the official cover on the left and inner page of the rulebook on the right. These are official, nothing will change here. Some of the things are subject to change, but for the most part, this thing is over 90% done. Just needs some polishing up by way of the rules. So, table of contents on the left. Introduction, how to win. Components, and the first thing you might notice if you're familiar with the original Platoon Leader game. The dice for this are in fact 6-sided dice, no 10-sided dice this time round. And you'll also notice some different colored dice in there. You're going to have your white hit dice. Then you'll also have your red fire intensity die and your green fire regulation die. I'll get to that in a second. Terrain cards. Gone is the boring, measly, useless one-off map. Now you have the option to configure terrain cards in such a way that you can create a number of maps. I'm not going to say an infinite variety, but there's quite a few variations that are at your disposal. Give an overview of the scenarios, the units, your squads, leaders, support weapons all in here. There are no flamethrowers. There are no bazookas, no Panzerfausts, but we do have mortars, light, medium, and heavy machine guns, as well as demolition charges. And the art for the counters has not been finalized. This may or may not be what you see on the final product. And then you have a couple of things that are carried over and or learned from the Ostfront game, our last game that we did. And that would be these helpful statistics cards. So you have your turn and weather track card, as well as your victory point track card, and your phase track card, which I'll get to momentarily. But also, you have statistics cards or stat cards for the squads that help you keep track of a squad's strength, as well as its hidden status and the leader's wound status, and also the platoon action point pool. So, when it comes to sequence of play, there was really no sequence of play in the original Platoon Leader. I've added one here. However, there is a twist. The sequence of play has been fractured into various phases that are randomly drawn. So each side has 4 sequence of phase chits that go in the same cup. As you're playing, you draw a chit, and you could draw either a German fire phase or an American movement phase. It really breaks things up nicely. You never know what phase you're going to get next. It also adds an element of poker, because if you want to bet on a phase chit coming up that you need, say, a fire phase chit, and you have a movement phase chit pop up, you can hold off on expending points during the movement phase and use them for the fire phase, but you never know when the fire phase chit is going to pop up. And in fact, there's an optional rule that allows you to randomly draw end turn chits. So there's also the possibility of the turn ending before all your phase chits are drawn. So that adds for some extra nail-biting excitement. Your actions, action points, pretty much similar to Platoon Leader. I variated it a bit. I think 1 action point is only going to get you half firepower. You'll need to spend 2 action points to fire at full strength. A couple other things, but overall it's pretty much similar. Line of sight in here, and that's standard from game to game. Spotting, as with Ostfront, I've added spotting in here. If you can't see it, you don't know it's there, you can't shoot at it. Ambushes in here as well. Got your stacking and movement, and then you have opportunity fire, and then your combat. Now, combat is significantly different from the original Platoon Leader game, and what you have going here is, again, no 10-sided dice. Still no combat results table, but you do have 6-sided dice. You'll roll a number of white six-sided dice for each hit fire point, fire strength that point that a unit has. In addition to that, you'll be rolling a red and green die. The red die is the fire intensity die, and the green die is the fire regulation die. And based on those results, you'll be able to determine the significance of cover or unit that is moving in the open in relation to a kind of morale check that will also determine if a unit breaks routes, etc. Plan on demonstrating that in a second, but moving right along. Various types of cover, all in here, everything from woods, buildings, orchards, wheat fields. And then the combat results vary from suppression, which will cause a unit to configure his counter such that it's similar to expending an action. So if a unit is suppressed, he's going to suffer the same fate as if he had expended an action, which bottom line means less actions that can be spent. Breaking, routing, rallying, pretty standard stuff. And then leader, casualty, assault, and then command. You have command range in here, which comes down to a 2 square distance. And enemy activation, that's very similar to what you had with the original Platoon Leader. As you enter a row of cards, you're going to draw chits for the next row of cards to see if and where any Germans will pop up on that row. Random events, you've got those in here as well, and the random event chit is thrown in with the phase chit, so every turn one random event chit will most likely be drawn, and then you'll roll on the random events chart, which has roughly 18 different possibilities. The scenarios are broken down for you. You can have fires and lay smoke, and then the optional rules, which include volume of accurate fire, which I'm not going to go into because I haven't decided on if I want to keep that or not. Panic, unit facing, crossfire. You can have random platoon and or squad activation, and then the AI is in fact an optional rule. I do not want anybody to feel obligated to implement this when they are playing. If you are perfectly comfortable with playing the other side as fairly as you can, fine, so be it. However, if you wish to use the AI, it is much, much more fleshed out than the original Platoon Leader was, which was in fact just a afterthought, tacked on Chrome thing. This is a built from the ground up with the design of the game itself. It's interwoven into the game and works nicely. Basically, there's a couple of charts you're going to roll on that will cause you to try to perform an order based on a die roll. If you can't perform that order, you'll go to the next order, and you never know which unit is going to be activated or what exactly it is going to do based on rolling the dice for this. So whereas in other systems as a similar concept, when you start from the top and work your way down, you're going to always start at different points. So it may not be the unit that you would think would perform an action. It might be something off on the periphery. Anyway, that's the AI. There's things that determine if an AI unit will conduct opportunity fire, etc., etc. And then you have a scrolling map variant, which I touched on briefly on a post. With these terrain cards, you can, in fact, move forward and drop out the bottom row of cards and randomly draw top row of cards and place them and do this indefinitely as you move forward. Designer notes in here. May tweak a few things there. And then the final page, that'll be the back cover of the rule book. So that is the rules in a nutshell, and we'll cut to let's cut to a couple of demonstrations here. So I'm going to end this video because I don't know that I'll have enough time to shove everything all on this in this video, and catch you guys again on the next one.